Hello, everybody, and welcome to the pedagogical and cultural session that we are preparing from the SOSOLVER consortium. Today, we are very lucky because we have here Henryk Jensen with us. Henryk Jensen is the headmaster at Baering Skole in Middelfart, Denmark, and he's one of the people that planted a seed some years ago so that there could be a lot of projects between the schools from Fuenlabrada and Middelfart. So, Henryk, we are expecting to hear from you about Denmark, about your Danish educational system, and maybe at the end, there can be a round of questions. Okay, so over to you, and I'll be here if you need anything. You can share your screen when you want.
Sure. Well, first of all, nice to see you. Even though I only see two, I suppose there are more. But I'm happy to be part of this. Thanks, Carlos, for inviting me. In a minute, I'm going to share my screen, share a presentation. I like the title, Pedagogical and Cultural Session. That I think that works fine with me. I'm going to talk a bit about Denmark, the culture of Denmark. Jorge, you can of course correct me when I'm wrong. And
I believe you know much more about Denmark than I do. Okay?
And of course, pedagogical. I'm going to talk a bit about the Danish educational system, and some of you might have listened to me before, so you will notice that I'm not specific about dates, about years when I talk about history, because I can't remember, and in some sense it doesn't make sense at all, and I might be wrong when I say which date and year. So it's just to give you a brief introduction to Danish culture and to the Danish educational system, and of course to Middelfart, because I know that you will be going to Middelfart either on job shadowing or later on these climate courses. So okay, I'm going to share the screen. Jorge, could you help me and just say if everything looks fine down in Fuenlabrada?
Okay. Now I see you well, but I don't. The presentation is working. I see the Dannebrog, the Danish flag, so it's working. It's perfect.
Yeah. So this presentation actually doesn't have a title. I think that the Danish flag should say it all. And of course, I will start with the Danish flag because it's our national symbol. It's not only a flag for us. It represents a lot more. It's supposedly the oldest flag in the world, the oldest national flag in the world. Supposedly, I say, because we Danes we like to sort of build up expectation, try to say more about who we are than what is real. We are a small country, so you will have to forgive us. But supposedly the oldest flag in the world, and it was handed to us from someone above. I suppose it's God. You will notice the cross in the middle. So that, of course, represents that Denmark is a Christian nation, and still is. Although we are, some would say that we're a multicultural nation. We have got lots of people with different backgrounds, refugees, immigrants, and so on. Actually, a lot of Spain as well. The first Spains came to Denmark as mercenaries, so they were actually aggressors, which is quite interesting to notice, because of course you come with other intentions. you come to us for dialogue, for learning, for exchange. So that's a bit different from the first Spain that came to Denmark about 200 years ago. Okay, so the Danish flag we just saw, and I will move on if it's possible. Interesting. So now we are facing the first technical issues. And the next slide, just a bit about Danish history. Our you could say our greatest era was about 1,000 years ago. You probably all heard about Vikings. That is really important for us Danes to address every time we get a chance, because the Viking era was our greatest era, so to say, because it took place about 1,300 years ago, and at that time Denmark was you could actually say that Denmark was a world power, because in possession we had most of England, Norway, Sweden, and so on. So we were a great nation, and throughout history since then we became smaller and smaller. And I put a map of Denmark with the Danish flag in it, and it is quite small, just to give you an idea on how we diminished since 1,000 years ago. The stone, rune stone, there are some. Does anyone have a question now, or because there are someone speaking in the background? No? Okay. So the stone here is a rune stone. You can actually find it still. It's in Jutland, located in Jutland. But it's the birth certificate of Denmark, because here it says that our king at that time, Harald Blåtand, Blue Tooth, made this stone for his parents, and here Denmark is mentioned for the first time. So, and that's about 1,000 years ago. So our history go back a long time. Well, in Danish terms, I know that Spain probably have a longer history than we do, but still, we like to talk about it. But when we talk about geography, Denmark is a lot older, but still not more than about 10,000 years old, because we have been covered by ice. The last ice age, about 10,000 years ago, covered the most of Denmark and shaped the countryside. So when you get to Denmark, you will notice that it's quite flat. The highest point is about 180 meters. And it's sort of a curved landscape, so curved by the ice, but it's also a cultivated landscape. You won't find much original nature in Denmark, wild nature, since all have been shaped by foresting, farming the most, but also by building roads, bridges, and so on. So if you look at a Danish map, which you can see here on the right side, it's basically roads and highways and so on. So it's a very cultivated landscape. And let's move on. It's a huge jump, about 1,000 years, because we go forward to our time. the 1,000 years in between are not worth mentioning, since it's all about how Denmark diminished through the years, and we don't want to talk so much about that. We rather talk about when Denmark was a great nation. So 1,000 years ago, Denmark, yes, was a great nation, and actually something happened not so long ago that made Denmark, you could say, great again. First thing was in 1992. We can see the pictures in the middle of the slides. It's when Denmark won the European Championship in football. And I mean, for you in Spain, it's probably not a big deal. Well, it's nice when it happens, of course, you can celebrate, but then you move on, and probably a year or two later, it's all forgotten. But in Denmark, it's not forgotten. We still talk about 92. Movies have been made about 92. Every year we celebrated in some way that we won the European championship in 92. So it's really, really important for us. And on the right side, you can see the Olsen brothers from the European Song Contest. I think it was in the year 2000. I'm supposed to know, but we won the European Song Contest, and it's really huge in Denmark as well. So these two cultural events has, in my idea, has made a huge difference in Danish mentality, because as I said, we had a long history of being diminished and really unable to achieve a lot, and suddenly we won the European Championship in football, and we won the European Song Contest. For the Danish mentality, it meant that suddenly we realized that we were capable of accomplishing even the unthinkable, especially the football European Championship. For Denmark, it was unthinkable. But I mean, if you really focus on achieving, if you work together, it's possible to achieve even the unthinkable goals. And that is, I think that's it fits the story about the Danish mentality today, because Denmark is a country without many natural resources, so we have to basically import lots of things that we need to produce. Yes, we are a land of farming, and of course we export a lot of products in that sense, but basically we get by selling, buying and selling. So we are merchants, and I think that we're also entrepreneurs, and I think I can say that for the Danes, since 92. We believe that we can do it, that it's possible to achieve. That I think that's a special thing about the Danish mentality, that we believe strongly in our what's it called, in our skills. We believe strongly in our skills, in that we can achieve a lot of things. So if you look at Denmark today, you will see a country where there's no deficit. We don't owe other countries anything. We have right now a unemployment rate at about 2%, which is basically means that we have no unemployment at all. We have a really well-functioning social security system, hospitals, and so on. And if we go back to the 1970s, and especially 1973, Denmark was on the brink of bankruptcy. So something happened. Yes, the cultural events, football and music, two really important events, and just to highlight how that is really important. I mean, we normally say, oh, we have to learn Spanish, we have to learn Danish, we have to learn English, we have to learn math, science, and so on. But if I know that you probably will recognize what I say and maybe even agree that that the events, I mean, the thing that brings people together locally and also nationally are actually sport events or music events. So we shouldn't neglect how important education in music and education in sports are. It's really important, also for creativity. But I think that normally we don't think much of sports as a subject or music as a subject, but in my mind it's really important. So what happened? I mean, what came prior to these events? And if we go back to 1975, you can see the image on the left, images on the left. In 1975 in Denmark, we had a new educational law, and for the first time, democracy was mentioned. That and the idea was that our teaching should be based on democratical ideals. And so we started giving students more influence. We started to have more debates. We started to make students work together. And today, you will, when you enter a Danish school, and most of you will soon, you will notice that students sit together in small groups, basically most of the time. And you will also notice that many of these students perhaps have a tendency to talk about other things than the real subject that they're working with, but most of the time they will be talking about the task that they're supposed to do, and they learn that when they work together, they can actually solve lots of problems, lots of tasks. I mean, working together. So the reason for this 1 + 1 is equal to 3 is to say that when we work together, we are more we are more than 2. So actually it should be more than 2 instead of equal to 3, because sometimes it might be 2.1 or 2.7. But the philosophy is that when we work together, we can achieve more than we could if we were on our own. So just a bit about the school system. Of course, like in Spain, education is a key priority. It should be in any country, because education is equal to development. The Danish school system is financed by taxes, so of course it means that you don't have to pay for your education. It's the same thing in Spain, of course, but you have private schools, so do we, and also international schools. And here we will notice some differences between the Danish educational system and the Spanish. We have a preschool. So do you. You could, I mean, you call it preschool as far as I remember, but our students start when they're 6 years old in what we call level 0. So they're actually 0 graders. It doesn't really make sense to call them 0 graders. We also call it kindergarten class. We don't really have a good name for it. I would say first grade would be more proper, because actual education take place in 0 grade. It's not only playing and making ready for becoming a student. You start earlier at the age of 4, as far as I remember. So we have some differences there. When children are between 4 and 6 here in Denmark, they are in kindergarten, and basically most of their day is about playing together, having fun, free games, but there are pedagogues taking care of the children, and they actually also have a focus on how to develop each child. So in some sense you could say that education takes place in kindergarten as well. We have what we call primary and lower secondary. Normally a Danish school, you will find students from the age of 6 to 16, because preschoolers are at school too. They're not separated. These classes are not separated from the rest of the school. All students are together in some way. So and you have your, sorry, anyone talking? Maria Jose, do you have a question?
Sorry, I just connected now. Sorry.
Okay. No worries.
I'm in the street.
No worries. I think you need to shut off your microphone. Okay, so it's only me talking now. I will move on. So you have your elementary school and you have your secondary school, and of course you will notice when you come to Denmark that we have the students together from 6 years old to 16. So it's a bit different from you, but it's still possible for us to work together, even though we have these different systems. I can say that here in the school where I'm a head teacher, we only have our students are only with us until 6th grade. So our school is actually a bit like a Spanish a primary school, elementary school. But it's quite unusual It's only in rural places, in small towns, that you have these schools. In Middelfart, in some of the big towns here in our municipality, you will find schools from where students are from 6 years old to 16. And then we have the upper secondary. We also call it gymnasium, or maybe some other education on the same level. And we have schools with vocational education. And from here, the students can move on to some kind of higher education, maybe business college, or a university, and so on. So that's basically our system. We will move on to Middelfart. The city, the municipality you're working together with. Middelfart is located in the center of Denmark, on the island called Fyn. Towns close by, big cities close by is Odense. You can see Odense on the right side of your screen. It's the third largest city in Denmark, with about 200,000 inhabitants, so it's quite the same as in Fuenterrabía. And Odense is known for being the birthplace of Hans Christian Andersen. So, but Middelfart is in the center of this image, the municipality. It's rather large. It's about 35 to 40 kilometers from one end to another. So geographically, it's quite large, but we're only about 40,000 inhabitants. And Middelfart, the main city in the municipality, has about 10 to 12,000 inhabitants. So it's not in when we talk about inhabitants, it's not a big municipality. But still, like Denmark, and I started talking about how focused we are on highlighting all of the good things about Denmark. It's basically the same in Middelfart. We like to highlight some things that are special about our city. On the right side, you can see our town hall, the most sustainable public building in Denmark. It's quite new, of course. Solar panels on the top, and a lot of other function that makes it sustainable. And it's part of the idea that Middelfart is a climate city, that think about on sustainability. On the left side, you can see one of the things in Middelfart. It's actually also part of the climate city system, so to say, because we realized when the climate changes began and we started to have more rain, we realized that our sewer system couldn't deal with all the rain, so we sort of had to make the rainwater run on the surface. So we shut down, or we closed the holes for the rainwater to run into the sewer system, and we let the rainwater run on the surface. So in the old house, and on the top left, you will notice that in the middle it's a bit wet, and the reason for this is that the water runs in the middle of the street that runs through the house, and it ends in the lower picture on the left running down this street and further on into the sea. So it helps us control rainwater. Sometimes it's like a river running through the city, but it's better than it ruins our sewer system. You could say that Middelfart, as we have this vision about sustainability, and it influenced the schools as well. I will talk a bit more about it when I just highlight a few things that are notable about Middelfart. On the left, you will see we have two bridges leading us to, or connecting us to Jutland. In the background, on the picture on the left, you can see a new bridge. It's actually more than 40 years old, but you could call it new because the bridge in the front is actually the old one, and we call them the old bridge and the new bridge. But two bridges connecting. The old bridge is about 100 years old. And now it's possible, Carlos knows that, it's possible to do bridge walking on this bridge. It's quite unique. There are only few places in the world where you can do that. So in order to highlight Middelfart, it's really important to talk about this possibility. We are quite proud about it. You can hear that. On the right side, on the top, you can see our we call it Culture Island. It's with our main library. It contains our main library, a cinema, and meeting facilities, and also a restaurant. And in the picture on the right, you can see that we have a nature center where we do education and other activities connected to a deer park in Middelfart. Of course, there are more sites, but I could say it would take too long to talk about, but that would not be according to the truth. But we have more sites. Schools. I actually forgot one slide because I was supposed to talk about a vision, a policy that we have in Middelfart. It's called From Middelfart Child to World Citizen, and it helps. No, it defines the way our politicians believe that we should teach and learn in the schools in Middelfart. And I really I'm pleased about this vision because it complements I don't think not only my ideology and my philosophy about teaching, but it should complement all teachers' philosophies and ideology about teaching. It's basically about it's more than subjects. It's more than a subject. It's more than subject teaching. It's more than subject teaching. It's not only teaching math and Danish and English and so on. It's about building citizens. So when you teach, you should. There's a higher purpose. So when you teach Spanish or when you teach math or science, you should also in your teaching take into consideration that there's a higher purpose of teaching. And I really like that idea. For instance, you can see it when when you visit a school, I talked about working together in groups. We do this because this is how it works when you are employed in a company. We work together. We always work together in groups. So we do that in school, and we do that to build students who become a citizen later on in their life. So they must be prepared for life as a citizen. So it's about collaboration, but it's also about the ideal of the democracy. It's that there are so many things that you have to be able to do if you must work well as a citizen in society. And society is not only local society. I mean, Fuenlabrada or Middelfart, it's actually also national society, and more important, international society. So we must have this idea that we are a part of something bigger, and we have a role to play. I think that's also what drove us to have a desire to collaborate with schools in Fuenlabrada. That we have to learn from each other. We have to work together to become stronger and to solve some of the challenges we are facing. But we have 10 public schools in Middelfart. I have put their logos on here. We have a school for students with special needs. We have a vocational school. And we also have what we call a 10th grade school for students who need an extra year of studying before moving on to upper education. I think I will skip this one, and I will say muchas gracias. Thanks for listening. I think that time is running, and I really like to have dialogue. So I hope that one or two of you might have a question for me. We can take that now. So if you have a question, you should open your microphone and just start talking. I will stop sharing for now. I hope that's okay, Carlos. And Carlos might have disappeared, or
yeah, I'm back.
Or maybe
Hello,
he's
Henryk.
maybe he's.
I'm
oh,
back.
You're here. Okay, good.
Sorry. So I guess you have just finished. So I don't know if there are any more questions.
I think that most have fallen asleep. I can see Jorge. Jorge is
awake.
It
was very interesting.
It's
and
lunchtime in Spain.
Jorge, I noticed that you didn't intro, so I guess that it was to the facts.
It was really interesting. So, yes, lots of important information we didn't know. So great.
Good. Okay, Carlos.
So yeah, Henryk, so thank you very much for all the information that you shared with us. Thank you for the preparations, for taking the time from your school and giving it for free to us in the SOSOLVER consortium. So Henryk, I guess now all the teachers must be really looking forward to seeing you in person, to visit your lovely town. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you are doing for this partnership. All right?
Sure. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Henryk.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. And thanks for listening. So, Carlos, I will say goodbye
Thank
because
you.
I have another meeting to attend. So take care. And
Take
see
care.
you in Middelfart.